In this video, I'm making my first attempt at rebuilding a Holley carburetor. We'll see how it goes. So before purchasing this boat, I did get video from the guy that owned it of the engine running. He restores ski Nautiques too. This was a third one that he was going to rob from, and he didn't feel like storing it over the winter, so I was able to pick it up from him. I trusted him a lot. He said that he felt like their carburetor needed to be rebuilt and that it was stalling or having some hiccups somewhere in the middle RPM range. So I wanted to learn how to do this. I wanted to try it, so we're going to get going. I am not very happy about how this is looking. We're still gonna drape a towel over that because we want to make sure that we don't get anything down there into that intake. Okay. Still coming out. Alright, so I took the carburetor off. I had a hard time getting this apart, so I actually removed it from the bottom where it sits, and now we'll just put that back on a little bit later. Took this out to the fire pit, poured all the gas out of it because when you turn it upside down, there's still some gas coming out. I mean, there is gunk and debris everywhere. This thing is filthy, just straight filthy. Grime and guts just coming out from tipping it upside down. All right, before I take this inside, I'm gonna make sure all the gas and chemicals are gone. All right. We're gonna attempt to rebuild a carburetor. Gonna bring it inside the house and do it here where it's easier to see. All right. So we built a little stand like this. I better be careful not to let the kids play with it. But I got a carburetor repair kit. It's got just a couple parts there, and whew. Man, that's some tiny stuff in there. And then gaskets galore. Fancy. That looks important. More floats and pins, and there we go. Does say to check and make sure nothing fell in between. Here is the manual. Let's see what we've got. Holy crap! I wouldn't really call that directions. I think the thing to do here is just start taking stuff apart. Let's just remove things. So here's what I learned. This kit doesn't come with directions on how to rebuild the carburetor, because to do this, you literally have to take every piece apart before eventually reassembling the entire thing. And the gist of it is, we need to soak and scrub every metal part of this thing with carb cleaner. There's more tiny holes and passageways than I could even count that are built up with crud, and that's possibly starting to restrict some gas. So in order to do this, we need to completely disassemble the thing, because you don't want anything that's not metal when you soak it. This includes the rubber, gaskets, and there are plenty of them. The main thing is creating a system for keeping track of each part while you're tearing everything down. Using the white towel helped me to see well and not lose any of those small pieces. Many of the smaller pieces and gaskets will be included in that rebuild kit. So every time I took a piece off, I looked to see if that piece was in the kit to be replaced. And most importantly, every time I took off a gasket or something, I found the matching replacement. I laid those components out in the order that they would be going back on, with the replacement parts included. Alright, I had to use just a little bit of force with a mallet to break these free. Man, I don't want to take these apart and mess with that. Am I supposed to do that? This one here, now this one here was really dirty in there. Okay, now kind of at a loss, because it looks like this plate needs to come off. However, I have no idea what these are. All right, it's day 2. I found out that this is called a bow tie bit, or a bow tie screw. So I could not find the bit online. I went to Ace Hardware, they didn't have it. So I drove over to my mechanic's shop that I take my stuff to and borrowed one from them. Let's get this off. Goodness, that's not good. That's not a gasket, it's a piece of metal. All right. like the smallest pieces you could ever imagine. How do you keep track of all this stuff? I want to pull you off of it. Try to keep this. Okay. Man, this stuff gets stuck on there. But that's in good shape. There's that gasket. After you clean all the metal parts, you simply start reassembling in the exact same order that you disassembled. Although I recorded the process for the channel, I'd recommend filming this with your phone if you're going to try it. The reason is you will have a reference to go back and look at as you reassemble everything. I actually had to do that several times to make sure I wasn't leaving any parts out or putting things on the right side. And it turns out those overwhelming directions, they weren't about disassembly. They're actually directions on carburetor adjustments. Now, because I don't know what might need to be adjusted and because the engine's in a few pieces right now, I can't really run the boat anyway. I'm just putting this thing back together, trying not to adjust anything in hopes that cleaning all the ports will hopefully be enough to get this thing working well.
overall, this was not as difficult as I expected, and was actually more fun than I thought it would be. Yeah, so I lost the 4 mounting bolts for the carburetor. I can't exactly take in the engine to match that up, but it got me to actually get a tool that I've been wanting to get for a while, the thread checker. It's only 30 bucks. It comes with a male and female of metric and customary thread, so you can match up and find whatever you need. I love it so much, I'm actually gonna put it in the description below. You can click on it and go get it. Alright, we basically have the carburetor put back together, but we're gonna have to wait to get the rest of this engine reassembled to see how it runs. So that'll be in a future video, getting the engine running.